Vicky Marie. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you are in this crazy world we're living in. And if you don't know me, my name's Vicky Marie. I live in mainland Spain. And it is freezing. You know, I bet you always think, oh, Spain's always hot. Oh, lovely sunny place. It is freezing. This morning, when I got up, it was 0 degrees in Spain. So it does get cold. It's warmed up now. It's 10 degrees. You can see I've got my gloves on, got my jumper on, my layers on, the heating's on, everything's on. It's really, really cold here today. In fact, I'm just going to turn the heater down just a little bit. Okay. Getting organised, but it's my hands are so cold. So, thing is, I can't wear full-blown gloves because I have to do the keyboard, and even when I'm teaching, I'm normally going through books or stuff like that. So I have these step-toe gloves. Anyone from Britain of a certain age will know step-toe gloves. And they're good. They work. So anyway, so yeah, it's cold here. I hope it's not cold where you are, or I hope you're having nice weather. Hope you're well, whoever you are that are watching. So in today's video, we're going to talk about this ongoing mystery of these missing sisters in Aberdeen, Henrietta and Eliza, part of triplets. So they're, would you still call them twins? I don't know that. Anyway, they're 2 triplets, 2 of 3, if you like. And they've gone missing in Aberdeen, down by the river. It's a very mysterious situation that I'm going to explain about in a minute. We're going to talk about sort of the latest from that. And then I'm going to talk to you about, because it's put me in mind of another very mysterious story of twins, the Eriksson twins, which some of you may or may not know about, which was a pair of Swedish twins who this sort of crazy thing happened to. They survived. They're both still alive. And it's just that you think, when you're trying to get your head around what's happened to people, sometimes you're thinking in the wrong way, because you can never, ever eliminate anything in a way, really. I know you try and use common sense and think, oh, this doesn't make sense or that doesn't make sense. But you'll see from the story of the Eriksson twins, nothing made sense in that case, and still doesn't. I don't think we've ever really had a full explanation of what happened to the Eriksson twins. Happened. I don't know if they even really know what happened. So it's put me in mind of that story. I'm not saying that what happened with the Eriksson twins is anything as to what happened with these other twins or triplets, Eliza and Henrietta. I'm not saying that. It's just that it's reminded me of it. So I'm going to tell you about that as well later. First of all, I'm going to just say thank you to everyone. So as always, thank you for watching, for liking, for subscribing. If you're not subscribed, please remember to subscribe, or please consider subscribing. It's absolutely free. You don't have to pay to subscribe. It's completely free, as is liking the video or not liking the video. If you don't like the video, press the thumbs down. I also want to thank especially, as always, my members. We've got members live tomorrow night. Thursday's coming round again. Every Thursday night is members exclusive live. I also want to thank people that buy me a Ko-fi or send me a super sticker, send me nice emails, suggest cases. Any way that you support my channel, thank you so much. Okay, so I can take the banner off now. So I'm going to say hello to anyone who's in the chat already. And I also, though, want to say hello to those of you watching at home that don't like to join in the chat. you lurkers, you fellow lurkers. I am a lurker on other YouTube channels. I want to say hello to replay crew as well, people who can't watch this video when it's going out live, but hopefully will watch later. Hello to you, replay crew. Okay. Oh, Christina, you're in France and it's -6. Oh, God. I've got some students in France. They're skiing at the moment. They're out and about skiing. But hi, JBT. So, yeah, that's what I'm going to tell you about Well, I say what's going on. We don't know, really. Still don't know what's happening with these twins. So, sorry, triplets, I should say. Because the Henrietta and Eliza are triplets, but they seem to be the closest out of the three. They were living together. They'd been working in Aberdeen for the past 6 years, I think. So and living together and spending all their time together, from what we can make out. The family say they were, the rest of the family are in Hungary, which is where the girls come from originally. They said everything was fine at Christmas, New Year. They seemed happy. Everything seemed fine. They say that they had no idea of, any sort of strange things. There were no red flags, let's put it that way. Having said that, then, it was apparently the landlord of the two girls' landlord from where they were staying that raised the alarm with police because the girls gave in their notice on the tenancy, and then maybe the landlord didn't hear from them for a while. I mean, it's all not clear. You know what the police are like. They're giving us little bits of information. But it seems to me that the landlord went to the property, was concerned about what they found in there. What would that be, I wonder? It hasn't been said, just said that the landlord was concerned about what they found in the property. So I'm not sure what that means. Anyway, so off the girls went one morning at 2:00 in the morning, or just past 2:00 in the morning, for a walk by the River Dee, or, well, we don't know what they went there for. And that's when they disappeared. And there are reports of screams being heard, but the police have not confirmed that they were anything to do with this. It was a freezing cold night. So who would go out when it was icy and snow, etc., outside and walk down by the side of the river? Why would they do that? Anyway, the police seem to think that they've got CCTV evidence of them entering that area, but not CCTV evidence of them leaving that area. So the police hypothesis is that they're in the river, basically. So the family are desperate, you can imagine, just heartbroken. The police must have said to them that they feel that they're in the river. That's their main hypothesis, but I presume they're not ruling out anything. Now, I've got my own hypotheses, and I'm going to talk about those in a moment, but I just want to show you, first of all, again, we've looked at it before, and this is the photo from the CCTV, the last time the women were seen. As we've said before, the one on the right-hand side there with the handbag slung over her shoulder, she seems to be talking to the other one. The other one looks more passive. This is just impressions that we're getting. Oh, by the way, I've lit a candle. Let me just show you this, because I hope you'll all join me in lighting a candle, either, physically or figuratively, for these girls and, for their family, because they've been missing over a week now. So, and with nothing, no news, no evidence of them using their bank cards or anything like that. Apparently they had one mobile phone with them, but the other mobile phone was left behind at their residence. So they didn't have suitcases with them or anything like that. So, it doesn't seem that they've run away, but maybe they have. But anyway, I'm lighting the candle really is for the girls, of course, but also for their family who must be, going through absolute hell, really wondering what's happened to them. And they're in a foreign country, so the family are in Hungary. So this is what I was saying yesterday, and I always say it's bad enough when your loved one goes missing, but if it's in an area that's familiar to you, but for your loved one to go missing in a foreign country and you're miles away, and you must feel so helpless. It just must be, and I can't even imagine what that feeling is like. So where was I? Oh yeah, so I was showing the picture of the girls. So this is probably not the last CCTV that the police have of these ladies, but this is the last one that they have released. They're very purposeful, striding out. I suppose if it was cold, you would have to move quickly because otherwise you'd get freezing. They're dressed smartly. They've got coats on. They've got scarves on. To me, but you know what? You just never know. You never know what's going through people's minds. But to me, that does not look like people going out to do something to themselves. Or is it? Are they just, have they talked about it and they've just decided that they're going to unalive themselves? Because we don't know. That is one of the possibilities. And that presumably the police, they have said, the police, that they're looking into their, looking into their mental health, if there's any evidence of any problems they've got there, etc. That'll be what part of the police investigation. And police investigations, they don't happen overnight. They take time, don't they? They've got to try and find out what's going on with these girls. Is there anything to show that maybe they might have been suffering from mental health issues? Okay, so where am I going? Ooh, sorry, my mouse is not working very well. Hi, David. Christina's got 4 jumpers on. I haven't quite got 4, and I've only got 2 on, so it's obviously colder there in France, Christina. So first thing I just want to look at is one of the Scottish reporters on Sky News made this short report that I want to show you, because I think it's good to see the area where these girls went missing.
The mystery here in Aberdeen of 2 missing sisters, a case that's baffled detectives 1 week on. But what do we know? Eliza and Henrietta Houston moved to Scotland from Hungary 6 years ago, and 1 week ago, in the middle of the night, they vanished into thin air here in the centre of Aberdeen, a heavily industrial area where many boats head out to the North Sea. They crossed this bridge around 2 o'clock in the morning and then headed down this path. Let's remember.
Now, first of all, of course, first strange thing is why go out at 2 o'clock in the morning? What that to me is the crucial thing. Whatever you might think happened to them after they left, why were they even out at 2 o'clock in the morning in that particular area? It's not like they were out at a bar or, a discotheque or some sort of nightlife, or even having a coffee somewhere. They were there at a place where, why would they even be there? And the other thing I just want to look at how this river is flowing, how quick it is flowing.
Headed down this path. Let's remember.
Sorry, I didn't show that very well. Let me do it again.
Down this path. Let's remember the freeze crossed this bridge around 2 o'clock in the morning.
Quick flowing.
And then headed down this path. Let's remember the freezing conditions. The tiny path with overgrown shrubs at the side would have been thick with ice. Treacherous conditions. Now,
yeah, it's a very fast flowing river, isn't it? It's not like other rivers we've seen on other cases that are practically not even moving. That river is clearly moving quickly. Also, again, to remember that it was freezing cold on that day. There was snow. The river was actually was iced over parts of it. So that's important to remember as well. So it would have been very slippy.
Those who know them say they are quiet, they're hardworking, and they're not prone to making impulsive decisions. So why did they end up in this part of town
Exactly.
at 2 o'clock in the morning? This has been an operation that's centred on the land, sea and air. Detectives continuing to scour the banks here, going underwater and taking to the helicopter as well. But so far, they have not received any conclusive answers as to what happened. And today an update came.
Yeah, so nothing has been found so far. And I think that's relevant as well, because quite often when you hear of people unaliving themselves, like we saw with Gaynor Lord, for example, and Victoria Taylor, they leave a lot of their possessions on the riverbank. Gaynor Lord actually undressed and got in the water. Whether she unalived herself is not clear, because the coroner said they weren't clear why she got in the water. But she got in the water and it was freezing cold as well, but left her possessions at the side of the water except for her coat. Then we had Victoria Taylor, who she also left her possessions by the side of the river. So why would you enter the river with everything with you? Deliberately, I'm talking about, if that was what had happened. Why would you still have your handbag slung over your shoulder or all your possessions on you? So to me, I don't know. I don't think that this is a case of unaliving themselves, because I think they would have left their possessions by the side of the river. And I don't know that, and it's pure speculation, but it's only because of other cases that we've looked at that have been, that tends to be, they tend to leave their possessions at the side of the water. Why would you get in with your bag on? It just doesn't make sense. But anyway, that's one of the hypotheses that I've got. I'm going to read out my hypothesis in a moment. But the police are still saying their main hypothesis is that they went in the river. But of course, it's a question of how did they go in the river, isn't it? So bear in mind that there's two people, and the police and the divers, etc. Not only they haven't found these ladies' bodies, but they haven't found actually anything. None of their possessions, nothing, or at least they haven't told us that they have.
From police saying there's nothing to suggest this is suspicious. Confirmation that the sisters had indicated they were going to end their tenancy at the flat that they had been renting for a number of years, and it was.
So the police, they're still insistent that there's nothing suspicious, but of course, again, that doesn't mean anything. But I still think what they should. I think this needs to be sort of changed, because they tend to say that, don't they, in the beginning? Nothing suspicious, and then maybe there is. But I think they should count it as there's something suspicious, because they have to secure the scene, forensics, etc. Count it as suspicious first. Of course, it's suspicious when two women disappear at 2 o'clock in the morning that aren't, they don't have that sort of lifestyle as far as anyone knows, where they're out at 2 o'clock in the morning. It's January, it's freezing, it's snow and ice. To me, that's just suspicious in itself. So why not consider it suspicious to start with? And then if you find out then later on that there's other things. But of course it's suspicious, because if it wasn't suspicious, why would the landlord have even bothered ringing the police? It's suspicious just in its own way. Might not be suspicious that a third party was involved. We don't know that yet. But it's certainly what I would class as suspicious.
That landlord who raised the alarm. They also say that there is a strong theory that they entered the water and that their state of mind is being interrogated as part of this. Had they had any interaction with the authorities in the days, weeks and months leading up to their disappearance? No bank transactions either, and clearly, has there been any activity on their phone? All this is forming part of this major investigation. We've also been hearing from the sisters' family back in Hungary. They are desperate for them to be found. Clearly, they say this is a worrying and upsetting time.
So yeah, must be awful for the family. And you know, the thing is, I see what you're saying. Then you think, no, there wouldn't be any bad people maybe on that path at that time, David. But then somebody left a comment on one of my videos saying, see, I don't know that area. So, you know, at the end of the day, I don't know that area. The police will know it, of course, and people who live in that area will know it. And somebody did leave a comment on one of my videos, which is only a comment. I don't know if it's true or not. It could be anybody who said it. I'm not saying it's not true either. I don't want to offend the person who left the comment, saying that people hang around there and drink at night. Now, I don't know if that's true or not. So maybe it is. Maybe it is a place, you know, in your area, all of you, wherever you live, you know where are the places that people hang around and sit and maybe drink or take drugs or whatever. There's areas in most places, even small places, where people are likely to do that. Is this that kind of area? But then why would those women have gone there? To me, that's the crucial thing. Why did they go to that area? It's said that they didn't drink, they didn't take drugs, you know, I just don't know what the reason is that they were in that area in the first place. That's the primary thing as far as I'm concerned. Why were they even there? But David, I mean, you know that people, it doesn't matter about the time or the temperature. If you know, if people want to do those kind of things, if it's an area where people do those kind of things, I'm not saying it is. You could be completely right. I'm just saying I don't think you can, because if you don't know the area, you would know where you live, as I know where I live, or anybody would know. Where are the places to avoid? To me, that doesn't even matter anyway. What matters to me is, why were they there? Why were they there? Those two women, Eliza and Henrietta, why were they there? You know, that to me is, you know, solve that. And that'll be the solving of this mystery as soon as it's solved why they were even there in the first place. But so I just want to read to you before I go on to talk about, you know, at the end of the day, there's no developments as far as up to when I started this video about them being found or whatever. But of course, the police have come out with this hypothesis that they think they've gone into the river, but they don't know how they went into the river. Now, to me, I've got 8 hypotheses. You know, there are 8 possibilities, but to me, as I say, the overwhelming question is why were they there in the first place? But of course, they were there. They were there. So, you know, the question why doesn't matter in another way, because they were there. So if we take it from that, so they were there and then they've disappeared from there. So why have they disappeared? So there are a few different possibilities, aren't there? So they could have been kidnapped. You know, they could have been kidnapped. Screams were supposed to have been heard, but it's not been confirmed officially if those screams were actually connected with the ladies' disappearances. But let's presume they were. Well, they could have been kidnapped, couldn't they? They could have been put, you know, it would have took more than one person, of course, to put them into a car because there's 2 of them. You know, they look like quite fit and healthy and what have you. So would have needed more than one person to sort of actually take them away. But in a sort of way, I hope that is what happened, because they could be alive somewhere. And they could have run away. They could have decided, you know, but again, if they were deciding to sort of leave the area and, you know, why would they have gone that way? There's so many other ways. They could have just got their possessions together, got in a taxi, got on a bus, done anything, got on a coach. Why would they have walked along that path? But it's a possibility. It's everything's possible at this point, isn't it? They could have been kidnapped. They could have run away. Now, something that occurred to me as well is, again, first thing you need to decide is why were they there in the first place? But obviously they were there. What if there was someone lurking around there? Somebody, like, if that's correct, what that person said to me, that people go there to drink by the riverbank, etc. And maybe homeless people there. I don't know the area, so I don't know. But could they have been pushed in the river by a stranger? Maybe, or strangers. That's a possibility. Everything's a possibility at the moment. Or another thing could be that one was pushed in, one of those girls was pushed in, and then obviously a sister would have tried to help her. Maybe she fell into the water. Another possibility is, and this sounds awful, but it's still a possibility. It's a possibility that one of those sisters could have pushed the other one in and then jumped in themselves. That's another possibility. And then more likely, I think, but again, still comes down to the fact, why were they even there in the first place? Did they slip? Because it was icy. Did they slip into the water? Did one of them slip and the other one jumped in to help them? Or did they both slip in? But still, why were they even there in the first place? One could have slipped and the other tried to help and fell in. Or, of course, the last possibility is that they did, in fact, deliberately go into the water to unalive themselves. So that, to me, are all really, what other scenario could there be than that? Exactly, Christina. I think, if people go and congregate to drink or take drugs or whatever they go, I don't think they care about the temperature. I've seen it in Manchester. It doesn't matter. It could be freezing cold. It doesn't matter how cold it is, because most of the year it's cold. So I don't think that would matter, to be honest, because the thing is, if you're homeless, you've got nowhere else to go anyway, have you? So where else are you going to go to congregate? You can't go in congregate in your house because you haven't got one. So you've got to congregate somewhere. Anyway, I'm not saying that's what happened. I'm just saying, what? Why? At the end of the day, this is a pure mystery. The police obviously will be investigating into their mental states. And that may leave a key. I'd still like to know why their landlord felt that they had to ring the police when they went into their property. What did they find in their property that made them feel that they had to ring the police? And why did they even feel like they had to enter their property? I mean, because I don't know what the laws are, but I think probably the laws are you can't enter someone's property, even if you're renting it to them, even though you own it. You can't, if you're renting it to someone else, I don't think you can enter without that person's permission. So for the owner to go in there without the girl's permission, it says to me that maybe they've been trying to contact the girls, not been able to get hold of them. And that's why they ended up going in there. And something that they found in there that we don't know what it is led them to be worried about the girls and ring the police. So we'll see. Maybe we'll find that out eventually what that is. I think as time goes on, I think we'll find that the police will release more information. So that really is where we are. We don't know anymore. They haven't been found yet, or at least up to when I'm going to just check, because this news could break at any moment that they've been found one way or another. I'll just check. I don't think they have been found. No. In fact, the only thing everyone's saying on the media at the moment is how it's just as mysterious now as it was a week ago. Anyway, of course, that if I do, if I can, because I've got some classes later, etc. But I will be back as soon as possible if any news comes out about this. But what it made me think about was, I don't know if you know the story of the Eriksson twins. So I'm going to get up some pictures of them. Because however much you might think, honestly, true life is definitely stranger than fiction. You always think, oh, that couldn't happen, or that couldn't possibly be, because you always judge things by what you might do or might not do. But this is what happened. These two ladies, the lady in the green that's running out into the traffic, and the lady in the red there, they're twins. They still are twins. I mean, they did survive this, the Eriksson twins, and they just had these sort of crazy moment on the motorway. You can see that girl, she's trying to run out into the traffic. The policeman's trying to stop her. The girl in the red, her sister, her twin sister, is just standing there sort of watching it all going on. And I'm going to show you that video of what happened that day. But first of all, I'm going to tell you a bit about the story of the Eriksson twins. And this I'm not saying that what's happened to these girls in Aberdeen is the same. It's just that it put me in mind of it, and I think you'll understand when I start to explain to you the story. So I'm going to go to a website to tell you the story. Sorry, my voice is going a little bit. I don't know if you know this about folie à deux, when they talk about people getting madness together. It doesn't have to be twins. It doesn't even have to be relatives. It happens, it's a sort of a mental condition that is acknowledged by psychologists and psychiatrists. And this is supposedly what happened to these sisters. Now, let me show this website. So just so that you know where I'm getting this information from, it's called Horrorbound. Yeah, don't take it. Sometimes dead is better. I'm not sure about that. But anyway, it's an interesting website because for this particular case, because it had a lot of information about it. So these are the two girls when they were children. Yeah, two twins. And this again is this picture that I had on the I showed you before. So this is the bizarre tale of Sabina and Ursula Eriksson. So we're going to start here. On a late May evening in 2008, Swedish twins Ursula and Sabina Eriksson left Sabina's home in Ireland. So she was living in Ireland. They left it secretly and headed to Liverpool, England. Upon arrival, the twins went to the local police station to report concerns for Sabina's child in Ireland. Unsure why the women would come to England to report the incident, local police called in a welfare check to Irish authorities. Learning the child was all right, Sabina and Ursula got on a bus en route to London, and during the trip, some of the passengers and the driver witnessed strange behaviour from the twins. The women even suggested the driver stop because they weren't feeling well. Uncertain of their intentions, the driver made an unplanned stop at a service station. The twins' continued strange behaviour worried the driver to the point where he didn't allow them back on the coach and in fact left them at the service station. The driver was not alone in his opinions. The manager of the service station also believed the women were acting in a strange manner, calling the police. When they arrived, the police spoke with the twins and, judging them to be no threat, left shortly thereafter. Once the police left, Sabina and Ursula followed suit and decided to walk along one of the busiest highlands in England, the M6. So, seen on the motorway's closed-circuit cameras, the Ericksons walked along the M6 down the central reservation or median. Without warning, both sisters ran out into the traffic. So these two twins, after, all this sort of surreal thing that was going on, they ran out into the traffic, and I'm going to show you the actual video of that. Cars struck both women and traffic was disrupted. Motorists called the highway patrol and police, and expecting the worst, members of both services arrived, finding the twins with superficial injuries. They talked with the twins on the shoulder and allowed traffic to resume because the twins seemed calm. And then while they continued to chat, Ursula again walked into the traffic and got run over by a 40-ton truck. So I'm going to show you that video now. So just to warn you, because it is shocking. I'm going to show you the video. I'm going to just play the video, and then first of all, and then we're going to watch it again. Actually, and I'm going to comment on it. But this video is quite shocking. So just to let you know that, just to be warned. Now, can you still hear me? Because I think YouTube have interrupted my stream. Can you still hear me? Because YouTube, is it back? Am I back? Oh, for God's sake, how can it be copyright? Am I back? Oh, I'm back. I'm back. Okay, good. Good. I'm back. So it's my fault. What I should have done is stopped and started it. Anyway, I think you got the idea. I'm too scared to play it again. Though I probably could play it again and stop and start it. I think because I left it to run probably wasn't a good idea. But I didn't realise it was. How can it be copyright? I mean, it's police webcam, is it, or something? But anyway, you saw what happened. Those two women just. I mean, I can show you a little bit of it. I don't want to get
in a fighting stance. I'm now confronted with.
I don't want to get, thrown off again. But you can see what's going on there. So those poor police people, 1 minute the women were stood by the side of the road talking calmly to them, and they had no, if you go back to the beginning of it, you can see. I bet I can. They're literally stood there chatting to the police. Everything's normal, everything's fine, they've calmed down, blah, de, blah, de, blah. And then, the guy's talking. This must be, what's the word? Must be like a body cam video. And they're talking, everything's fine, they're thinking it's all calming down. The women are just there, and then, boom, off they go again. And literally, one of them, she ran into the path of an articulated lorry, and the policeman that was trying to stop her, luckily for him, her jacket came off, because otherwise he would have got run over as well. So, it was just, 1 minute, and then she ran off as well. 1 minute they stood there talking, the next minute off they go. So, being a police person is not easy, is it? And the thing, you never know what you're going to have to face. And then they've got to try and save this person's life, even though this person, to be honest, has put their own life in danger. And not only their own life, but the life of lots of other people who are driving on the motorway. Bye, David. So do you know what I mean? It's like, God, look. So fancy, that's what you might find on a day's work, in your normal day's work. And not only that, these people are not even appreciating what you're doing, because one of them was saying, sorry, I'm not laughing because it's funny, I'm laughing because it's ridiculous. One of them was saying, ring the police. And he was saying, I am the police. We are the police. So they're not even getting any appreciation for the fact that they're trying to save these persons' lives. And not only their lives, but lives of other people that are driving on that busy motorway. They're not even getting any appreciation for it, because they're telling them to fuck off, to do this, to do that, ring the police, blah, de, blah, de, blah. So, it was just crazy. The whole thing was crazy. So one of these sisters is, after this incident, is taken to hospital. The other one's okay. I can't show you the rest of the video because, well, they're going to pull me up, aren't they, again? But let me show you what happened after, according to this website that we've been reading at. So they talked with the twins. So we're going back to the beginning of the video, if you like, but I'm not showing the video. I'm reading out to you now what happened. They talked with the twins on the shoulder, and they allowed the traffic to resume. While the service members continued to chat, Ursula again walked into the traffic, getting run over by a 40-ton truck, crushing her legs. Just as suddenly, Sabina jumped into oncoming traffic and was quickly struck by a car at high speed, smashed into the windshield, thrown into the air, and landed hard on the tarmac. Coincidentally, all of this was caught on camera by England's version of Real Stories of the Highway Patrol. That's how they got it. Real Stories of the Highway Patrol. They're the ones that will have done me for copyright. Suffering multiple compound fractures, Ursula screamed for police. even though they were trying to help her. She spit and hissed at them, saying they were fake. She knew they weren't real. After being unconscious for several minutes, Sabina got up and started struggling and fighting with the police, punching one hard in the face. She ran into traffic again on the other side of the motorway, screaming to her sister that the people helping her were trying to steal her organs. The cops said that Sabina had superhuman strength and it required 6 people, police and motorists, to subdue and restrain her. Finally, the twins were taken to a local hospital, but the story continues to get weirder. At hospital, the paramedics rushed Ursula to surgery. Other staff evaluated Sabina. She exhibited a calm demeanour, answering most questions in a congenial manner, a far cry from the savage behaviour she displayed on the motorway. She even joked with the staff. Toxicology screens showed no drugs or alcohol in Ursula's system, but Sabina was not tested. I wonder why Sabina was not tested. So the bags that the twins were so protective of only held 1 passport and several cell phones. After seeing several professionals, they all deemed that Sabina did not exhibit any signs of mental or psychological illness and was released after being charged and sentenced to 1 day of custody, which was considered served while at hospital. The entire time Sabina was questioned, she never gave a reason for being in England and never once asked about her twin sister Ursula. She was free to leave, not having anywhere to go or anywhere to stay. And listen, this story hasn't ended yet in its madness. Unfortunately, a Good Samaritan would be the next person to get involved with this story's madness. So Glenn Hollinshead and his friend Peter Malloy walked home from the pub with Glenn's dog, and when they saw Sabina standing on the side of the road, she asked if she could pet the dog and asked if there were any local bed and breakfasts or hotels in the area. Unfortunately, there were none in the area, but after hearing that Sabina was looking for a sister, Glenn, they say the road to hell is paved with good intentions. Glenn offered his place to rest and said he would call around local hospitals. Peter joined Glenn and Sabina for a while, but left after a while, when she continued to act odd, often standing suddenly, peeking through the curtains, looking up and down the street, as if looking for someone following her. She would offer both men cigarettes, and just before they lit them, Sabina would snatch the cigarettes from them, putting them back in her pack. And when she was asked why, she said they were probably poisoned and they shouldn't smoke them, while smoking one of the cigarettes from the pack. While with Glenn and Peter, Sabina never complained about pain and didn't exhibit any behaviour of someone that had just been run over by a car. When Peter left that evening, it would be the last time he saw his friend alive. In the morning, let me just come back to chat, make sure I'm still on there. You can hear me and see me, can't you? Yeah. Yeah, it's still going as far as I can see. So, yeah. So you see, so they've let this woman out. This Good Samaritan has took pity on her. In the morning, Glenn continued to make phone calls trying to locate Sabina's sister. He recruited his brother in the search as well. Sabina didn't seem distressed at all. Later that day, Glenn asked his neighbour for some tea bags. In the middle of washing his car, the neighbour told him that he would bring a few bags over after he was finished. Almost immediately after Glenn returned to his home, He staggered outside, pouring blood from 4 stab wounds. He told the neighbour, "She stabbed me," and collapsed. Shortly after, Sabina fled Glenn's house carrying a hammer. A passing motorist stopped to help her. Honest to God, this would put you off helping anyone, wouldn't it? When he noticed she was smashing herself in the head with the hammer. Well, that's a red flag, isn't it? Don't let this woman in your car. She's smashing herself over the head with a hammer. He was repaid for his assistance by a roofing tile being slammed into his head, which Sabina fled again and was pursued by responding authorities. They followed her to a bridge, which she immediately jumped from a height of 30 feet, breaking both her ankles and fracturing her skull. She was once again rushed to the hospital, and it would be months before her and her twin would be released. Ursula was allowed to return to her family in Sweden, and Sabina was charged. She's out now, though, just to let you know. Sabina's trial was postponed for a long time while the authorities tried to get her medical records from Sweden. Eventually, she pled guilty to lesser charges. She was assessed by 2 different forensic psychiatrists, and the only answers she gave when questioned was no comment. She served 2.5 years of her 5-year sentence, after which she returned to Sweden. Oh my God. During her incarceration, she never let on about why she and her sister were even in England in the first place, what had happened that day on the M6, or what happened with Glenn Hollinshead. Imagine Glenn's family. She's murdered him, basically, and she served 2.5 years of a 5-year sentence. Oh my God. Oh God. She never spoke of her sister. An investigation into the twins' past did not show any history of mental illness or psychosis. Some suggest that Ursula's original psychosis affected Sabina, causing her to do things that ended in the unfortunate murder of Glenn Hollinshead, and one of the most bizarre cases of folie à deux. There you go. So, yeah, murder somebody, you get 2.5 years. 2.5 years, that poor guy, who was a good Samaritan. Gosh, I'm so angry about that. I could just literally launch into a lot of expletives. So she's killed a guy who stopped to help her, tried to help her. She's murdered him. She got 5-year sentence, of which she only served 2.5 years. They're both now free. I think one's in Sweden, one's in America. I don't know where they are. Let's have a look, because I was just going to say it doesn't matter, but of course it does matter. Because, they could be on a motorway near you. Couldn't they? Where are they now? So Ursula was released from the hospital after recovering and now lives in Bellevue, Washington. Sabina was sentenced to 5 years and released in 2011 when she returned to Sweden. There you go. Yeah, that's British justice for you. Murder a good Samaritan who's trying to help you after you've done all those other chaotic things on the motorway. You get 2.5 years. Well, you get 5 years, but you only have to serve half. Terrible. Honestly. Now, sorry. Hey, that's my dog trying to get his tennis ball, so I'll have to go and get it for him, and I've got to go and have some lunch. But I'm not saying this is anything to do with the case in Aberdeen. It's just, I think, as you can see, it just reminded me of it. And it's just like, you can never think you almost can never rule out anything, can you? You always think, oh, that couldn't have happened, that couldn't be right, or that. You just don't know, because true life is always stranger than fiction. And I hope this poor family in Hungary get to find out what's happened to Eliza and Henrietta. I really do hope that they get to find it. I mean, I'd love to think that they were okay somewhere, but it doesn't feel very positive, does it? But the reason that it reminded me of the Eriksson twins is you just never know. Weird things go on day in, day out, and why those two women, why Henrietta and Eliza were there at 2:00 in the morning in those freezing conditions, walking down by the river, I have no idea. Hopefully the police will find out, and hopefully they'll find out what happened to them. Anyway, I've got to go. I'll see you very soon in the next video. And as always, may your God go with you. And prayers and, for Henrietta and Eliza and their families. Bye. Oh, and of course, may your God go with you. And please don't forget to subscribe. Bye.